Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Stelter. I am a senior analyst in the CAISO's Market Settlement Design and Configuration Group, and we'll be walking through the EDAM access charge, revised attachment F, and the charge codes along with the tools that we use to calculate the EDAM access charge rates. So we have a pretty packed agenda. So first we'll start with an overview of the EDAM access charge, including each of the recoverable revenue amount pieces that will be submitted by the EDAM transmission service providers. We'll walk through how to submit that information via the attachment F procedure and template. Then I'll share the CAISO's tool to calculate each EDAM BAA's EDAM access charge rate, which will feed into the new charge codes 8322 and 8326, the EDAM access charge collection and payment. So as part of the updated section 33.26 of the tariff, we have these governing provisions on the EDAM access charge. The CAISO will have an EDAM access charge for each EDAM BAA based on all of the inputs provided by the EDAM transmission service provider in that BAA. The CAISO will then use that recoverable revenue information to allocate the revenues collected, true up that actual revenue through the calculation of the next year's EDAM access charge. This will all be done through forecasts for the EDAM TSP's aggregate EDAM recoverable revenue from the three components that we'll talk about, plus any true-up amount. And we'll get into the true-up amount also. So for the first component of recoverable revenue, we have short-term, firm, and non-firm point-to-point transmission and WAC revenues. These are the costs of foregone historical transmission sales to third parties, including all of the various granularities of time granularities of firm and non-firm point-to-point transmission service. We'll take the average for the first year of EDAM participation. We'll take the annual average of the EDAM TSP's revenues from these products, leading up from the past 3 years to the EDAM participation. So only a portion of the revenues from the 3-year average will be considered in the EDAM recoverable revenue amount. We do have a cap. That's the amount has to not exceed the result of projected EDAM recoverable revenue multiplied by the ratio of the EDAM BAA's exports to the EDAM area and the total EDAM BAA exports. The second component is new transmission capacity from expired legacy contracts. This is section 33.26.2.2 of the tariff. These costs are a result from the reduced revenues from the sales of firm and non-firm transmission associated with the release of transmission capacity from the expiration of EDAM legacy contracts. They include the foregone costs from transmission sales on new network upgrades that result from EDAM participation. And for the third component, we have recoverable costs associated with EDAM wheel-through volumes of net imports and exports, and we will be helping to calculate these values for the EDAM BAAs within the configuration in charge code 8326. These costs are the revenues associated with the EDAM TSP's total volume of wheel-through transactions in excess of the total net transfers of the EDAM BAA or CAISO BAA measured monthly. So we'll calculate this by multiplying that excess wheel-through transaction by the EDAM TSP's non-firm hourly point-to-point transmission rate. Finally, at the end of each year, there will be the opportunity to submit true-up amounts. This is the difference between the actual foregone and collected revenue for each EDAM access charge component. So EDAM TSPs will provide the difference between the actual sales of those qualifying products we talked through and the EDAM TSP's projected sales for that year. After that's provided, it'll feed into the total recoverable revenue amount, and whether it's positive or negative, it'll impact the following year's EDAM access charge. And we'll also do this for the CAISO BAA. Okay. So now I'd like to share the revised attachment F. This was posted just last Friday to our release planning section on the CAISO public website, and have some instructions here, but would like to just go through the document itself. Okay, so the revisions to attachment F are an expansion from the transmission access charge procedure. So we have all of this supporting the TAC rate submission process, and then starting on page, on this page, we start to get into the EDAM access charge rates with a summary of each of the components here of really what we just walked through, just as an additional reference. And then to prepare the EDAM access charge rates spreadsheet, we'll download the submission template, open the file, and then we have these various fields here, including the BAA, the transmission service provider's name, its non-firm hourly point-to-point transmission rate, the EDAM TSP's transmission revenue requirement, and then these historic recovery amount, new transmission recovery amount, and wheeling recovery amount are all, along with the true-up, all feed into the EDAM recovery amount, and this is what's going to be used to calculate our EDAM access charge rates, which I'll get into. So this is for EDAM TSPs. We also have another section for PTOs within the CAISO BAA, which mostly mirrors the EDAM TSP process, but we have PA ID and short name along with the PTO name. So sharing it, so this is the procedure portion. This is the template that you're going to download. Again, we have the TAC portion that was not updated as part of this process, but we did add in two tabs here. This for the EDAM TSP, and this for the CAISO PTO. So you'll download that and put in all of the information on the three components plus the true-up amount. And let's see. And you'll save it, and then we break the process down for city users and non-city users. That's the customer inquiry dispute and information application. So if you are a city user, you can log in via the market participant portal, use the inquiry ticket process located at this link, and then create the city ticket using the EDAM access charge recoverable revenue phrase here as the header. Attach any FERC filing or FERC order that's associated with the recoverable revenue amounts or the TRR, and then settlements will receive that and be in contact as needed. For non-city users, This is simply an email to our service desk, servicedesk@kaiso.com. You'll also use that same subject line. And once submitting the email, it'll get correctly routed to settlements, and we'll be processing the recoverable revenue amounts. So as for processing timelines, once you submit the recoverable revenue information, there'll be a 2-month processing window that allows for flexibility and also creates a predictable schedule for the EDAM TSPs and KISO PTOs. And lastly, once we get to the calculation of the EDAM access charge rates, those rates will be publicly posted on the KISO website. And with that, I think we can get into the next section, which is the tool to calculate EDAM access charge rates. Sorry. Okay. So after submitting that recoverable revenue information, here with the 3 components and the true up, internally, the KISO will use a tool to calculate basically the ratios or rates that each EDAM BAA will have for the calculation of what will be collected for the EDAM access charge in charge code 8322. And again, that rate will be posted publicly. So I'm going to share that template we have here with some mock-up data. So in column B, we have the total EDAM recovery amount. These are simply mocked up numbers with the annual gross load amount in column C. Column D populates if the balancing authority area is an EDAM participant. And then column F excludes this BAA's gross load from the total. So the sum of column D at 200,000 for banks or KISO's obligation will be 50. Well, the total demand excluding the BAA's demand will be 50,000. And then KISO as the balancing authority area would effectively pay bank this ratio and LADWP this ratio. Or sorry, not ratio, but rate. And so that rate is being manually calculated in this tool. It'll be fed into our settlement configuration in charge code 8322. And so the 8322 is our EDAM access charge collection. The tariff section 3326.3 provides the collection summary here. So to recover the EDAM TSP's recoverable revenue, the KISO assesses the access charge to the gross loads in each EDAM BAA. This first piece is what was accounted for in that upstream tool. So no EDAM BAA will be assessed its own projected recoverable revenue. And the KISO will assess those charges based on the EDAM BAA's gross load. This charge code is monthly, and I'm going to share the charge code itself. Okay. So just a bit of a note before getting started. This technical document for charge code 8322 will be posted by Friday, August 29th. along with several other configuration technical documents. So this 8322 and 8326, which I'll get into after. So just going down to the inputs from external systems. This EDAM access charge rate corresponds with the rate that was just calculated in that tool we use. Okay, so we have 6 formulas here. We have the first one, we're multiplying that specific rate by the BA's daily meter demand quantity to get a daily amount for the Q prime BAA. That's balancing authority area, or attribute 6. And then this Q double prime corresponds with what the Q prime BAA is owing to the Q double prime BAA. In 365, we're just summing over that the BAs that they're owed to. So I can pull up. So what's happening in 386 is we're saying, okay, CAISO, we have the 1.2 EDAM access charge rate. We're multiplying it by your daily metered load. That's the step in 386. Then in 385, or sorry, 365, we're taking the sum of the 1.2 times the metered load plus the sum of the, or plus the 0.17 times the metered load for CAISO, and getting basically to this step. Okay. In 364, we're just filtering on EDAM BAAs that are outside of the CAISO BAA, because for the CAISO BAA, we are applying a daily meter demand ratio to get the settlement for business associates within the CAISO BAA. So we're using a pro rata share of metered demand to calculate that output in 363. In 362, we're taking the daily sum of the output in 363 and 364 to get a total daily access charge amount. And then finally in 361, we are just taking the sum of all the days in the month to get the final monthly output. So this will end up being a monthly charge code. So now, so that was our collection. In the EDAM access charge payment, we are paying what we collected in 8322 to the EDAM TSPs in proportion to each EDAM entity's proportional share of the total projected EDAM recoverable revenue. Any difference between the projected and actual recoverable revenue will be included as debits or credits in the annual true-up. And again, we're going to include the rates, the annual gross load, and the total eligible recovery amount to the public CAISO website. And I think I may have seen a question come up on the gross load. We'll be calculating that and posting that.
Hey, Anthony, quick question.
Yes.
Before we go into an additional document, we've got Chun Yu who has her hand raised. If we will go ahead and Chun Yu, I'll take you off of mute and you can ask your question.
Thank you. Thanks, Radha. Thanks, Anthony, for walking through this. quick questions come to mind. So looks like 8322 on the CAISO settlement metrics, it does, it looks like it does not mark as a PTO charge code. So this is shall be charged on the demand side. I just want to confirm that. Look like the how you walk through the formula, it's confirming that, but I just want to hear you confirm that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, this charge will be assessed to meet our demand within the BAAs.
Sounds good. Thank you. Second question is that I saw the requirements there says that it need to be submitted. No, it takes 2 months, effective from January 1 of 2026. Takes 2 months to process the form, the F. So we'll say that charge code, I mean, this initiative going live in May 1. So that means in March 1st, we need to submit the form, whatever form for the affidavit for participate in the EDAM charge code, EDAM excess charge.
So that 2-month time processing timeline is more for the CAISO to process the EDAM recoverable revenue to calculate the EDAM access charge rates. So if you'll notice when each EDAM entity or TSP submits data, our internally we'll take that total EDAM recovery amount, put it into column B. We'll calculate the gross load in column C. So each time an EDAM BAA or TSP submits this information, it's going to have an impact on other EDAM BAAs in terms of their access charge rates. This is, again, it's just a example demonstration of how this will work. But as more EDAM BAAs on board and provide this information, it will have an impact on the rates. So yes, that 2-month timeline is more for us to calculate these rates starting in column G.
Okay, even for the BA in the CAISO BAA, for example, like our case, I'm from PG&E, so we would have the same requirement, which is this, can I interpret this is also the affidavit requirement on the BRS, which is submitting these forms? Is a similar thing?
Yes.
Okay, it's a really good.
Yeah, it's a similar thing, and for the so I'll get into it in the allocation in 8326, but for CAISO PTOs, we allocate those revenues collected in 8322 to the PTOs based on their share of recoverable revenue that they submit to the CAISO. So it's we'll do the sub allocation for CAISO PTOs in 8326.
Sounds good. One more question, because I don't know if you have this information, because on some, I forget where we saw it, in order to participate in the parallel operation, we need to also submit the affidavit before the parallel app. So that probably you can impose 2 months, 2 months process time in order to participate in the parallel apps. Parallel operation, I believe, starting from February. And I just want to clear up the question. You may not have the answer right now because this is probably come from the PMO team. Then you guys let us know when you will need it to be submitted in order to going into the parallel app, and if we want to see this charge codes flow through to our settlement system.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll take that question back. We were intentional with not imposing a deadline for submissions of recoverable revenue in this attachment F procedure document. So unless
sounds
anyone
good.
else from that team has an answer, I'll take that back. And yes, thank you for the question.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we can get into charge code 8326, the allocation side now.
Anthony, if I could interrupt you for just a moment, it looks like Jeff has a question.
Sure.
And I thought since we're getting close to being able to complete all your documents, it might be a good opportunity. Jeff, I'll go ahead and unmute you.
Sure.
This is Jeff from CDWR. Anthony, I just see this slide 15 for the allocation ISO collected revenue. Based on this slide, looks
Yes.
like so. Okay, access will allocate this revenue or charge to the each EDAM BAA. And also, I'm paying attention for the ISO, the BAA. How about the located in the ISO, the BAA, the load, especially related to the load serving entity, will be charged or receive the revenue within the ISO BAA?
Is your question that will KISO loads be charged the rates for recovering the EDAM access charge recoverable amounts?
Yes.
So yeah, that step is the first step in the configuration. I'd like to share it just so that we're all clear. Sorry, there it is. So in 386, we're taking this EDAM access charge rate and multiplying it by the balancing authority area's daily meter demand quantity.
Oh, the
That's
meter,
getting
the
us
meter
up
demand.
to,
Okay.
Yeah.
This mean, ISO will allocate it to or charge this metered demand, right? Here, based on this BPM.
the KISO will do a sub allocation chart for the, I should say a sub collection to daily meter demand. Yeah.
Daily meter demand. This is related to load serving entity in the ISO.
Meter demand, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Load meter entity. Okay. And okay, thank you. I will reveal this the detail on the BPM ISO post. And I have a second question, still regarding this ISO the access charge. How does ISO the process will be established to this access charge? This all the your BPM I need it's complicated, but for the ISO have some document like your presentation to just in general access in general introduce the vault process ISO will be established for this access charge.
Sorry, maybe misunderstanding the question.
Oh, this
Can you
focus
repeat it,
on
please?
how does ISO the process will be established for this access charge?
The timeliness, or I may have missed that last part.
Oh, I mean the part. You mean the process? I think maybe including your BPM and also in the ISO proposal on the EDAM, on the EDAM. Or the only
Yeah, so we'll
or the only we can see this process established in the BPM?
This is a new BPM as with 8326. So we have the sub collections to the KISO LLCs, or business associates, meter demand based on the ratio there. For the EDAM BAAs, though, we're just doing the collection from the BAA with the business associate ID for now. So I hope that helps to answer your question. It'll go into effect in production on May 1st, 2026. This technical document draft will be posted by August 29th, or on August 29th.
August 29th. Okay. Okay, thank you. I will review the related document. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the questions. Rada, were there any other questions in the chat or?
Anthony, there was one question in the chat, and I think you addressed it, but I want to double check on this. There was a question asking about the gross load calculation template and whether or not that template was going to be provided on the KISO website, on the release planning page. I think you were showing the gross load calculation template as an example, and I'm wondering if that's something that we're planning on posting.
So this attachment F submission template has a field for, or no, sorry, this might be. Sorry, we'll add the. We have the gross load values, the annual gross load values. So we were going to use that value to calculate the rates. We can also add it to this sheet and make a small change in the procedure document for the annual gross load. So we'll take that feedback and I'll talk with James and my team about it.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Jennifer, I hope that answers your question. And then I don't see any other questions or hands raised. So go ahead and continue.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yes, the last document that I'd like to share is the allocation side, or the EDAM access charge payment. This is new charge code 8326. More formulas in this one, but mainly due to the fact that we are providing the component 3 data. So the component 3 is the excess wheel throughs. Find it. Yes, the excess wheel throughs in excess of the total net transfers of the EDAM BAA or KISO BAA measured monthly. So that's the first step in this new charge code 8326. We have some notes here that these formulas, starting at formula 13, are all informational, so they're not impacting the final settlement amount in this charge code. But this BAA excess wheel through amount by balancing authority area monthly, that will be on an annual basis what you'll submit for in that attachment F template. So I'll just work through each of the formulas. It's a lot of these intermediate formulas are just switching time granularities. Here in 24, we're taking an hourly net transfer quantity. And then in 22 and 23, we're taking the net import and export transfer quantities on an hourly basis. 20 and 21 are summing over the hours to the daily level. And 18 and 19 are summing the dailies to the monthly level. In 17, we are taking the monthly wheel through transfer quantity as the minimum of either the net import transfers or the net export transfers. Then in 16, we have net export transfer quantity at the BAA level this time. That's taking max failure 0 and the BAA monthly net export transfer quantity minus the net import transfer quantity. For calculating the high voltage KISO wide rate, we have an existing bill determinant, the high voltage KISO wide rate on a daily level. We're just summing that over to get a monthly. And then finally, in the last step, we're splitting out the KISO BAA versus non-KISO BAAs in taking the BAA excess wheel through quantity, and for the KISO PTOs, for the KISO PTOs, using the high voltage KISO wide monthly rate. For the EDAM BAs, we're taking the same input on the wheel through excess quantity and multiplying it by the EDAM BAA access charge non-firm rate, which will be the rate provided from this field in column D. So all that will support this wheeling recovery amount. We're calculating it on a monthly basis, but for the purposes of the form, that'll be annual. And then we have a couple more formulas for informational purposes. We have the KISO PTO excess wheel through amount. So when the KISO PTOs submit their EDAM recoverable revenue amounts, we'll take the sum of them and then divide the individual PTOs amount based on the total to get this access allocation ratio on a monthly basis, and then we're multiplying it by the excess wheel through amount so that the PTOs have that value. This KISO daily access charge distribution amount we calculate further up in the formula section, but we're just taking that to get to a monthly level. And then the last informational formula, we're taking the basically the trying to get or not trying, but getting a true up value for the PTOs on the access charge net amount. And now we are in the main configuration here. So again, similar to 8322, we have the split out of EDAM BAAs outside of the KISO BAA versus KISO BAA. So in this 366, we are swapping out the balancing authority area with the the BAA from attribute. So now instead of charging, we're figuring out what each EDAM BAA is owed for their recoverable for the allocation amount. This will get the total EDAM BAA allocation amount. And then here we are applying this BAA EDAM entity flag, which has the business associate for settlement, along with the balancing authority area. And we're filtering out KISO from this formula. Here we are taking the same input on the EDAM access charge allocation amount, but filtering for KISO in this case, and summing over the daily level. Same with here to get to a monthly output. And also similar to the sub collection for load in 8322, we're doing a sub allocation to the PTOs within CAISO. Here on the monthly level. And then lastly, we are taking the sum of the PTO's distribution amount and the EDAM BAA's distribution amount to get to a total monthly. And again, this one, this technical document will also be posted on August 29th for further review. Okay. So that was the formula review for the new charge codes on EDAM access charge. Are there any other questions that I could help with?
If you'd like to ask a question, please go ahead and raise your hand if you want to ask a verbal question, or feel free to put a note in the chat for Anthony. Eunice, I see you have a question. I've requested to unmute your line. You can go ahead and unmute on your end.
Thank you. This is Eunice from PG&E, and I would like to clarify, for the affidavit. I know we'll have to. There's 4 numbers that we'll have to provide, and is that specifically only the willing recovery amount would be? Is that only specifically the willing column I here can be found specifically on, CAISO's invoice?
So yeah, well, it won't be on the invoice. It'll be published for informational purposes. That component 3 excess wheel throughs to net transfers amount. These two, and it'll be more helpful to go back to the slides. So this is component 1. So these are the 4 costs of the foregone historical transmission sales. So you're taking the annual average of that in the past 3 years leading up to EDAM participation. And that'll be in support of the first component. So the value that will go into column G here.
Mm-hmm. And for this 3 years, so I think we're gonna submit it. This first report early. I forgot. Basically, the historic 3 years would be for 24, 23, and 2022 to 2024, right?
Yeah, it'll be the 3 years leading up to EDAM participation. So
it's
so
not.
it might be 23, 24, 25 for PG&E.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. And then for the rest component, the new transmission recovery amount is something that PG&E will have to figure out. I'm trying to connect
Yes, that one.
yeah, because
that calculation is on the PTO or the EDAM TSP.
Mm-hmm. And so does the true amount, it will be based on the PTO's calculation, right?
Yeah, the true up amount will be the difference between what you were allocated in 8326 and what you and the actual recoverable revenue amounts that that would have been eligible in the past year.
Okay, so is it the net difference between the historic, the transmission, and the new recovery amount and the willing recovery amount?
It's since it's based on a forecast for what you're initially providing to the CAISO for your recoverable revenue amount. After the year is ended, you'll see what was actually the foregone transmission sales to third parties, the costs from the reduced revenues from the sale of the firm and non-firm transmission, or on the transmission sales on new network upgrades. So you'll have that data and you'll have it to compare to what the PTO initially provided as the recoverable revenue amount, and then that difference will go into the calculation of the following year.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And yeah, so this column J will be you'll provide that difference, and then it'll go into the next year's recovery amount, and will be reflected in that ratio. It'll be, the true up can be positive or negative, so it can either increase or decrease this column B amount for the following year. Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Folks, does anybody else have questions for Anthony? Anthony, I'm not seeing anything written in the chat. Does anyone want to raise their hand? Chen Yu, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. When is the BPM being published? It has been published? The new BPM.
Yeah, the new BPMs, well, they'll be first published as technical document drafts on August 29th.
Right.
So we did post these previously, but have since made substantial edits to them to streamline and better configure the design for them. So those, what I just shared today will be posted on the 29th of August.
Okay. And sorry, I didn't check all the documents this morning. Will we have access for this presentation you just walk us through?
Yes, Rada, I believe we'll be sharing the recording. Is that right, Rada?
Yes, I will be posting this presentation that Anthony just shared with you and the recording of today's session on the release planning page. The other attachment F template and procedure is already there on the release planning page. The items that will be posted later are these technical documents, the charge codes that we went through that you had a preview of today. You will see those posted on the 29th of this month. I also see that Massey has his hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Massey, go ahead. I think you may have something you wanted to add to the discussion.
Good morning. Yes, Rana, thank you. Just a follow-up clarification on what Anthony said. Yes, we are planning to create a PRR, which will include BPM for this change on the 29th. Please give us 1 or 2 business days for the approval process to go through for the publishing. So our plan is to submit the PRR by close of business August 29th. So give us 1 or 2 days for you to see the BPMs in our BPM site. Thank you.
Thanks, Massey.
Are there any other questions for Anthony? Eunice, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So I'm looking at, the template. Let's see. Yeah, so thank you. So the second tab and the third tab, they are quite similar. And then is that the third tab is more talking about, like actuals, and one is like more a forecast, for the following year.
So both are forecasts. This tab, EDAM access charge fill-in, is for EDAM transmission service providers outside of the CAISO BAA. This third tab is for PTOs within the CAISO BAA.
Okay, got it.
And the reason we've split that is because of the sub-allocation in 8326. So we'll be adding all of the PTO's recoverable revenue amounts and getting the ratio of each PTO in CAISO, and then sub-allocating the revenues that we collected according to that ratio for the CAISO PTOs. And then it'll just be a direct allocation to the EDAM TSP or BAA.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions for Anthony? It looks like we have answered all the questions, and I don't see any new questions in the chat. So Anthony, was there anything else you wanted to add, or are we ready to conclude?
No, nothing else here. Thank you to everyone who joined, and Harada for facilitating. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.